Millions of us are on social media, and everyone does really have what they call a digital footprint online. Well, whether you are a recent college graduate looking for your first job or maybe a seasoned worker looking for a new opportunity, your online presence could help or hinder you. A great friend of the show, Lindo Garib, regional manager at Robert Half, is back to share some insight on this topic. Great to see you, my friend.
Good morning. How are you?
It's always a pleasure, Lindo.
Glad to be here.
First of all, let's just get right to it. What's a digital footprint?
Sure. It's basically your online presence and what people can find out about you when they search the web.
And a lot of people like to post things, sometimes positive, sometimes negative.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. People are putting a lot out there now, whether they put it themselves or somebody puts it on their behalf. And employers are getting savvy to that. So we are seeing that a lot of hiring managers, a lot of executives, when they're getting ready to decide on a candidate, they're actually going online and starting to do some searches to see what they can find out.
Yeah, that party you were at back in 2008 that had some less than flattering photographs of you, that's gone. It's back. It's in the past.
It's in the past, but people can find it online. So I think, I tell folks, you've got to really know what's out there about you. Mm-hmm. And if you've never done this, I would go on Google and type in your name and see what comes back. And, sometimes you're going to be surprised. There might be things out there that you're not even aware of. So I think it's important to do that research, understand what's out there about you, and think about, especially if you're looking for a job, is this something you would want an employer to see? If it is, fantastic. But if it's not, can you maybe untag yourself from certain pictures so then that way people cannot find it as easily? Or if you can't, then you at least know about it, so if it does come up in an interview, you're able to address it.
Lindo, is this becoming more and more of a common tactic, if you will, of employers looking at social footprint?
It is, absolutely. I mean, we are finding that on average in our survey, 2/3 of executives said that at some point they now go online and they do a search before they make an offer to a person. And about half of those have actually not made an offer because of some of the information they've seen.
What are some of the things that they're looking for when they get online?
From a positive perspective, I think it's a great way to learn more about a candidate. What are their hobbies? What are their interests? Right. What type of organizations are they involved in? But from a red flag standpoint, employers are also looking at what have you said about your previous employers? Are you overly negative about certain topics, or are there any unflattering pictures about you?
Lindo, are there some positive steps that a person can take to maybe improve their digital footprint?
Absolutely.
From here going forward?
Absolutely. I think, the first step, like I was saying, is understand, do a search, and see what's out there about you. The other piece is look at what are your privacy settings. Things like LinkedIn, which is a professional site, you don't necessarily need a lot of privacy setting because you want people to be able to find you. And a lot of that information is going to be more work-related things that you are posting. But you really have to think about what's out there on Facebook, what's out there on Instagram, and what do your privacy settings look like? Is everything out for everybody to see, or do only people that you want to have access to the information have access to it? I'm actually surprised in today's world how many people have no privacy settings, and you could just go on Facebook and see whatever you want about them.
Have you gone yourself and looked at the person's past?
I have a couple of times. Obviously we make our hiring decision based on the in-person interview we've had with the person and what their references said about them. But absolutely, in today's world, you also have to see what's online.
But Lindo, let's face it, there are some negative aspects to it, but you can really reinforce the positive things that you bring to the table and why that person should hire you, correct?
Yes, you certainly can, and I think that's one of the things you want to be able to speak to as a candidate or as an applicant for a job. Like, what are some of the positive things that you've done? Have you ever written any articles, or have you done any blogs, or have you shared stories on Twitter that are relevant to your profession? So there's a lot of things that can also differentiate you online and maybe help you get the advantage.
All right, improving the digital footprint in this digital age. Lindo Garib, it's always a
Thank
pleasure,
you so
my
much,
friend.
Greg.
Looking good.